Twisted Christian. Today I'm going to be discussing about the news story about Maliki and the hundreds of billions of dollars or billions of dollars or whatever it was, allegedly that Dubai confiscated, and of course the changing stories of Maliki. And I went and tried to do some research on this, and one of the things that has become very difficult in the last several months is using certain search engines to find relevant information that I used to be able to find pretty easily. So that's one of the things that has changed. There's a lot of information that they don't want you to know, at least coming from here from the United States, and you have to really do your research and really dig deep to find certain things, either on foreign search engines or just having to go to different various newspaper sites in other countries or from other countries. And one of the things that I've always said as far as the corruption that's going on in Iraq is so much that is just unbelievable. And in 2014 or 15, I think it was 2015, where they held Maliki was responsible for the fall of several cities, and yet nothing has happened. He still runs around and does whatever he wants to say. He still threatens the United States, and he's not even in power, but he sure does act like he is. And if you guys don't know some of the decisions that he made that led to the fall of this organization that basically took over almost half of Iraq, it did nothing and stood by and allowed the citizens of Iraq to fall into despair. And whether or not if the story is true or not, and let's just say if it is true, it wouldn't surprise me at all whatsoever. I've shown in past videos as far as billions and billions of dollars missing, talking about US taxpayer dollars that went missing in Iraq. Billions. And, that's one of the things that the United States citizens has not stood up and said, hey, this can't go on anymore, but we just chuck it up, but, as U.S. citizens, we complain about the President of the United States, building a security wall. We complain, people complain about that and the money spent, but yet, there's articles I showed you, $17 billion just missing that we sent to Iraq. Yet nobody complains about that because, it was under their previous administration and he could do whatever he wanted to do. It's kind of funny to see, people talk about this current president and how we're spending, trillions of dollars every year, an additional $20 trillion, an additional $1 trillion every year that he's in office. That's going towards the debt yet, but when the previous administration did it, they kept their mouths shut. They didn't say anything, but they didn't care. But now it's a different president, and all of a sudden that they care. But one of the things is when is the Iraq people ever going to stand up? I mean, this current president is he's worthless. He doesn't do anything. He hasn't done anything. Where is the hope for this country? Where's the hope that things will finally change when all these corrupt individuals can walk around and milk the Iraqi people, when the government can sit there and say, oh, we'll give you the money, we'll pay you the oil revenues and all this and all that, and they're still waiting. And yet the Iraqi people they're not doing what they should be doing when it comes to this current government. And that's the thing with this whole thing with Maliki. I was looking and I was hoping that somewhere in the mainstream news that this would pop up. And it's interesting that usually you're going to find a Europe or a US article that's going to pick up on some of these things, but nothing, absolutely nothing. And if you guys remember the video I did 5 months ago, the Iraq dinar was never meant to revalue. And it was never going to revalue under these current people. Abadi was really our only chance. Abadi was Iraq's only chance to make a difference, whether it comes to the RV and stabilizing the country. And all this started back when the United States invaded Iraq. And if Bush or Obama or Maliki or the current prime minister of Iraq, if any of those people really wanted to see change, it would have happened. They wouldn't have allowed the corruption to go on. They would have stayed on Iraq. But it never happened. And Abadi basically had to deal with, when he was in office, he had to deal with this organization that basically almost took over half of Iraq. All his resources, all his time and energy was spent trying to get things back into place. And the people didn't even give him another chance. They voted in this other guy. He's done nothing. He's singing the same tunes. And when are the Iraqi people going to stand up? When are they going to stand up to the corruption? I don't know, folks. This whole thing, it goes really, really deep. And for all the gurus that were out there that said, Bush wanted this, Obama was going to make an announcement, Maliki was. I was doing some research, and they were saying that people were saying, gurus were saying that Maliki was going to revalue the dinar. Yet, but they claim to have all this intel. Yet they claim to have all this insider information. And they've been wrong time after time after time. They never were going to revalue the dinar. They were going to use it to keep stealing. Now, of course, the way I look at things, God had different plans. But they're using this to continue to milk the oil revenues of Iraq and keep the Iraqi people down. Because, there's a lot of other countries around Iraq that do not want to see them succeed. Iraq literally could be the next Dubai. They should be the next Dubai. And I'm actually thinking about doing a video on that. But they don't want them to succeed. And because of the policies of past administrations here in the United States, and because of the policies of former leaders in Iraq, things still have not changed. Because they didn't want it to change. That's a way that you keep oil prices high when you have conflict in that region. That's why it's important that, especially here in the United States, that we access the world's largest oil reserve in the world. And I guarantee that when that happens, not only things will change in the Middle East, because now they're going to have to rely on each other, right? See, right now, for years and years and years, the Middle East economy depended on shipping oil to the United States. But now that the United States has its own oil, they're going to be put into a position to where they're going to have to get along in order to maintain their wealth. So regardless if this whole story with Maliki is true or not, doesn't change the fact of the corruption and what they're doing. And I'm sure, I think Johnny from Currency 365 that possibly this could be counterfeit. Well, I was doing a lot of research before I did this video just to see if I could find anything relevant to this. And there is so much counterfeiting going on in the Middle East. It's absolutely ridiculous. And not just of the United States dollar, but multiple currencies. So, and some of these are state-sponsored counterfeit operations. That's why the dinar should not revalue. And a lot of people, they keep saying it's going to, you're going to allow these people who are still in Iraq, who are still walking around, and they've allowed this country to be invaded. They've stolen billions of dollars from U.S. taxpayers. And not only that, probably from a lot of other countries too. We weren't the only ones giving money to Iraq. There were a lot of other countries that were giving money to Iraq. There's a lot of payoffs. There's just a lot of payoffs. We'll give you all this money, but you just allow this to happen or that to happen, or you don't make this happen. And what was meant for evil is going to be turned around for our good. So if you guys haven't checked out that video, please do. The Iraqi dinar was never meant to revalue. And if they, like I said, if it is true, it just goes to show that, once again, the gurus have not and still not know what they're talking about. And that's one of the things that I'm going to start doing. I don't get a chance. I do, you guys, I still work full time. I work one job. I used to work about 60 hours a week, and I was still trying to put up videos as often as I could. Now I'm down to 40 hours a week with one job. And so I'm doing my best. I'm spending a lot of time researching. And because I want to be able to give you guys the best information when it concerns the stock markets or currencies or anything else. But one of the things is that the same people that are still calling for the RV do not know what they're talking about. Because if they didn't know what they were talking about before, if they were wrong about the previous administrations of the United States concerning the dinar, and if they were wrong concerning about Maliki and this current guy right now, if they were wrong then, they are wrong now. I mean, literally, these gurus are calling out an RV when almost half of Iraq was occupied by another force. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. One of the things that some of you guys, some people, and I know there can't be my subscribers, but they're making a lot of negative comments. And, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about Iraq. Well, if you do know what's going on with Iraq, why are you not making videos? Why are you listening to mine or Currency 365 videos and not making your own videos? If you're such an expert, then make your own videos. Right? Because some of these people, I'm going to tell you, some of these people are the gurus, and some of these people that are making a lot of these negative comments, they are working for other gurus, and some of them are actually working for online exchanges. And when we talk about how the gurus are, it just means that we're rufflings of feathers. Because, first of all, they had us blinded for many, many, many years. Iraq, in my opinion, still has a long way to go. It doesn't matter if they have joint ventures with the NASDAQ exchange. It doesn't matter how many deals they have. They've had so many hundreds, if you add up all the deals they've made in the last 10 years, you're talking probably trillions of dollars in deals with oil companies and electric companies and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, it doesn't matter. Because if all the money is going back out to the corrupt, it doesn't benefit Iraq or their economy. And until the corruption changes in Iraq, you are not going to see any change. You guys need to focus on other investments right now. You guys need to focus on trying to get ahead as opposed to waiting on this one thing. And that's one of the things. If you guys focus on other investments and you make a little money, guess what? You can invest more into the dinar if that's what you choose to do. Every weekend looks good. Every holiday looks good. Every Iraqi holiday looks good. Just go back and look at the research from like 2009 and look at all the gurus who have disappeared. Well, some of them probably disappeared because in this video, dinar gurus arrested and convicted were probably some of the ones that were behind the scenes and pretending to be these experts with inside information. Nobody is an expert on Iraq. All we do is just talk about the news. All we do is make speculations. All we do is make assumptions. This video, the Iraq dinar was never meant to revalue. Yeah, that's my opinion. I try to show the evidence. I try to show you news articles so you can see what I'm talking about. And the other thing is, guys, is that the reason why I show some of Currency 365 videos, because first of all, I think they're important. And there's some information I don't want you guys to miss. Whether it deals with cryptocurrencies or other investments or the dinar. Because we're all trying to put all the pieces together. And when I'm putting the pieces together, the dinar, I'm seeing a lot of other investments. I'm just not seeing the dinar. I'm seeing all these different things. You're watching and seeing the shape of a new economic system. And all I'm trying to do is just trying to show you guys what I see, and then we can all, especially for those who were in the same position as me, where we just focus on the dinar, how we can come out of that and try to make money on the change in the system. That's one of the things, because I talk about the wells of Kim Clement, which over this next week I'm gonna have a lot of information about that, especially on Patreon. I'll be posting some more stocks, and I have my own wells. I have a project. If you guys, for those of you support on Patreon, I have my own project, and you guys support me on that project. I got artists working on things. There's times that I work on things here and there, and one of the things that I realize is that out of all the meetings I've had, the emails, the phone conversations that I've had with producers and companies and everything else about this project, one of the things that I realize is that I don't want anybody else to control the vision that was given to me, because you give up certain things, you give up rights, you give up the storyline, you give up how people are going to die, or you give up the direction of the story. I don't want anybody to be able to dictate this project. I want to be able to fund this entire project on my own, which means the vision that was given to me, I can implement it without interference from other entities that are involved with the production and everything else. If I allow another company, if I allow a company to come in and sign a contract, I can no longer dictate a lot of different things. So that's one of the reasons why I'm searching for different wells. I'm digging different wells so that I can do this project, the Grigori projects. And I got multiple things I'm working on that I could dictate how things are, because I own it, I run it, and I can make sure that the story is done the way that it's supposed to be done, the way that the vision was given to me. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the whole Maliki thing, and that this RV is it's never going to happen until these guys are done, until these guys are gone. And if the gurus are still pushing this over and over and over again, you guys just need to be very careful. And anybody who comes and makes negative statements about me or Currency 365, or just some of you, I've had to ban some people recently. And I will continue to do that, because this is a discussion. This is not about trying to be an expert. This is not about trying to figure out if when the dinar is going to revalue, and because there are so many different things that have to happen first. So I give opinions. I try to show you news articles, and yet when I do show you certain news articles, you guys still are blinded. You guys, some of you guys don't see, and I don't think some of those are my subscribers. I think these are people who are listening to the videos, but they don't actually subscribe. So anyways, guys, I hope that you guys listen, and I pray that a lot of you guys that are in the chat rooms and stuff like that, some of you are still waiting on the 800 numbers and all that ridiculous mess. Some of you are still giving your dinars away to people. You guys just need to be really careful. And that's with any type of investment. You just need to be careful of what you do, and do the research, and quit looking for this RV to happen right now. It could. We could wake up tomorrow and it could happen. Right? But I think that would be a mistake. I think Currency 365 got a lot of heat about the dinar if they were to slowly raise the value up. And a lot of people were saying, at least on the comments on my channel when I posted his video, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's just like, well, if they did do it this way, if they slowly moved up the rate to where, let's say they jumped up to, they slowly jumped up to where, over a 6-month period, and it jumped up to, say, up to 5 cents eventually. And then you guys say, oh, no, that's not going to happen. That's not the way it's supposed to happen. You guys are dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. But then if you do know what you're talking about, then you would already know. You wouldn't even have to listen to the video. But if it did edge up in value slowly, and then it went from 5 cents to $1 or $3, well, that's the whole thing, is that you guys would have the opportunity to make more money, because as you see the dinar go up in value, then you're going to be buying more, because it's getting ready to change. Yes, it's a nothing, and then suddenly, right? And we don't know the whole entire process, because it could be, it could go from where it's at now to 500 dinars per dollar, but that's still not what we're looking for. It's still, and we can still make a little money, but people have already made money off the dinar if you bought in between 2004 and 2006, and depending the exchange rate and all this and all that, people have already made money. So I just say that to say, we have to look at all the possibilities when it comes to any of the currencies that we're invested in. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys' support on the Patreon. The links are down below in the description. I'm going to have multiple things coming out here in the next week on the Patreon. Please be patient as I do. Like I said, I work full time, and I'm doing my best to bring all the relevant information to you, especially about Kim Clement's probably 16 wells. There might even be way more than that. When I was just going through the different prophecies and stuff, he just mentioned an individual thing, an individual company or individual well, and it just continues on and on and on and on. And we don't know if he has stuff he's never published before. I wouldn't be surprised if that his ministry has things that they've never published. And the other thing that I would also like to see from the Kim Clement ministry is some type of book form of all his prophetic words. I think that'd be a really nice addition to the Christian community, and also for those who like to study the Kim Clement ministries. Anyways, guys, thank you for your support, and thank you for listening. Twisted Christian out.